Morning, Reptar. Are you hungry? The sun's gonna mess with the shot today. Are you hungry? Hmm? Are you hungry? Hmm? You gonna eat? Hmm? Oh, look at that. Are you hungry? You want manna to fall from the sky? Is that what you're waiting for? Huh? Are you hungry? Hmm? You're sitting in your food dish. We don't hit your food dish because the live food crawls out, don't it? Just manna from heaven there. Some little croutons to go with it. Ah, right all over me. Attack, attack. Messing with you with your food. Oh, I'm so mean to you. The violence of it all. Not quite as exciting as Tornado on Sasquatch's channel, is it? Dude eats a whole rat, man. And a chick. I'll get away with that because there's not a lot of people in the room right now, but several wouldn't have let me get away with that comment. Yes, I fed you and you ate. Now what? A staring contest? No, you can't have my fingers. Coachella Valley Cop Watch? Are you kidding me? Good morning, man. Yeah, if you can rewind on this, he started eating pretty much as soon as I fed him. This is Reptar. Now he's just gonna hang out in his food dish and knock everything out. Getting a little sun through the leaves and the breeze, changing the reflection on the glass. You don't want to eat me, do you? Yeah, I'm a tyrant prison keeper. Uh, you just can't figure out there's glass between us and your way out, can you? Oh, I've had such a busy few days with dead batteries and broken glasses. Today's a chill day. Coffee and weed, and lunch and weed, supper and weed, and then probably some weed after that. Oh, that's it for his lazy ass. Climb up in his hammock and lay around all day. What a life. I think I can get a better picture. Nope, he's gonna hide. Yeah, I did medical marijuana for 10 years after I got off the steroid injections, Vicodin, morphine. I quit it all and just smoked weed. I can get you a lot better shot, but usually the light fades it out because of the spectrum. Now we got the reflection on the TV. Aphasia band. Hey, thanks for riding along in the Challenger ride. I still hurt from that. Boy, it felt really good to be in a car with that Hemi, unlike my little four-cylinder vans. Well, I use it for my eyes. I have birth defects, and I need all the blood I can get to them for the oxygen because I don't have the muscles everyone else does. And I use it to manage the pain. It basically helps me with the depression, and the worst part of pain is that if you dwell on it and you remember 5 minutes ago and 10 minutes ago and yesterday and the last so 20 years. You don't really do that with weed. I mean, it's like you see a commercial for fishing, and I go, oh man, I'd like to, oh fuck, I can't get in a boat, that'd kill me. So yeah, the weed works in different ways. Yeah, she pointed it downhill just to prove a point, and like, what was it, 100, 150 yards? She was up to 100 miles an hour, about half throttle. She has a couple of videos of the Challenger on in parking lots, just smoke in the parking lot. But then she came over yesterday and changed the battery in my car. She didn't even come in the house. She was so busy between the Caden playing football, and they had to go to some theme park for a kid's birthday party. I had to text her husband. I said, you know, you're in danger of losing your bro status because you both changed one of my batteries. You've both done my brakes twice each. I said, other than that one major repair, she's pretty much a better mechanic than you are, and you're a mechanic. Hey, Tucson Lori, good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. A pretty busy weekend for you, I saw. A lot of fun, I believe, was one of the videos. Reptar was starving, so he ate right as I fed him, and probably aren't going to see him move for a while. Fun only? That's cool, though. My fun yesterday was having a dead battery changed in the van to go to Walmart to get my meds, to have a dead battery in the electric cart, to changing to another electric cart and having that battery die, and still got my glasses fixed and my grocery shopping done, and got home and said, I win, fuck you, day. I got through it. You know, now he just lays under the heat and lets the heat digest the food. And today, like I said, is a chill day. I took the biggest cola I got and busted the top 4 inches off of it, and I'm going to see if I can't kill it in one day. I've been on that one really nasty R word lately, ration mode. My God, that's the most painful part of smoking pot, is to go into ration mode. Chilling is right. It's 63 in here. Yeah, it's awful. It's better than being out, but that's all it is. But we kept track of it when we both, my brother and I, started on the legal cardless system and ordered our seeds from Europe, and they're all certified and supposed to do certain things. And yeah, 10 years of that. Now I get to smoke pot again because they made it legal. I carry my card, but I let it lapse. What's the point? Oh, I got my card and I kind of kept it renewed. When we first legalized it in a vote in Michigan, the law that went into effect from our vote said that if you're on disability, Social Security disability, you pay $25 a year for your renewal. By the first year's renewal time, they had already changed it to $100, plus you had to pay a doctor. So even though we voted it into law, they freaking changed it. And they still, this is like 12 years into it, have not made the law that we put into effect, which was to get dispensaries. They keep shoving it down to, oh, communities can decide. Well, they had it every other year. You pay more. You do a renewal every other year, and you do a reval every year. And the doctor that I went to was, I think his address was 420 36th Street in Grand Rapids. I mean, it was a revolving door. He saw you for maybe 3 minutes. I'm sure they're probably financially not getting the money they were before this. Oh, yours went to 2 years? Well, it's funny about things like that. The argument is to legalize it, but then you look at what would the effect actually be? Well, if I would have to admit what the personal effect for me was, when I got a card, I stopped carrying weed around and smoking constantly everywhere I went. Before I had the card and it was illegal, I had weed on me all the time, and I smoked everywhere I drove. I smoked everywhere I went. When it became legal, I grew really good pot and I smoked at home. I'd go do stuff, come home, and then get high. So if it were legal, there's no point in doing the things that, make it extra cool. So if you look at the results instead of what you want to happen because of what it should be, that was the effect. I became more cautious with it because I had something to lose, my card. And having my card was fun. Oh my goodness. I got hooked up with a bipolar massage therapist from a very wealthy family in Michigan who was the black sheep of the family. And so I saw the cops for that 6 month period probably every week. I would call, and their house was literally 5 feet across the city limit. So the county cops had to come or the state cops had to come. Well, they didn't have county cops, so the state cops had to come every time. Oh my goodness. When I wasn't there, they came for one of her drunken friends that was there or whatever, and they searched my car because the window was down and found some roaches in the ashtray. And when I came back the next week, I called them up and asked them if I could have my weed back. And they said, well, it's And I said, look, I have a card. He said, the cop goes, do you know how many times they've said that to me? I said, well, you're 35 miles from where I'm at, but the local cop shop is like 5 minutes. I'm on my way down there. I'm going to have them make a copy of it and send it right over to you. And then can I have my weed back? Well, once it's tested, there probably isn't going to be enough for you to have anything back. I mean, they were little tips of paper roaches. Of course, I didn't leave anything in them. That was a funny one. Then we went to a campsite, uh, one of the festivals up there, almost the very tip of Lower Michigan, and they pulled us over on the way, and they identified me as a passenger because she had an open can of beer in the car from like the day before, and one of those cup things that go all the way down, and was covered up, and the cop noticed it. And so I put my card underneath my license when I gave it to him, and he slides them apart and goes, well, I suppose this card means that you have weed on you. And I'm like, no, officer, that card means I have medical marijuana on me. He says, well, I still call it weed. I said, well, you should be really careful about what you call it. And then they asked to see it, and of course I'm really hyped up at this point. I'm just trying to get him to forget about the can of beer. So I'm like, sure. And I had it in my luggage. I pulled it open and I realized I had my weed in a metal tin that is a special edition mountain knife set with the knives still in the tray and the weed underneath the tray. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let you go ahead and get it out because I don't want to get shot. Because just pull the metal tray out, take the knives out of it, and then I'll show you my weed. And they went through a lady walled over. Did you have more than 2.5 ounces? I'm like, I'm only here for 3 days. Why would I need 2.5 ounces? But you know what? I have to have all my weed on me by law. I can't store it somewhere. So, yeah, I have it all on me, and no, it's not over the amount. They were cordial about it, but they were like virgins at it. They didn't know really how far. And he's like, well, I could run a dog around the car. I said, well, all right, let's establish this. There's weed sitting right here. Do you think the dog's going to hit on the car? I mean, seriously. You already have weed. You're threatening me with the dog coming to hit a positive? Well, you're just being fucking ignorant. And then he wrote a ticket for the can of beer, which, of course, her rich family got her out of. It was all good. That was before I ran into the auditing community online and went, wow, these people do the same thing, but they use a camera. And then I watched y'all go to jail and go, do I really want to use a camera? I will admit this though. I mean, I'm a redneck from Ohio and northern Michigan, and everything I knew about weed was wrong. And we tried to buy some of this used equipment to grow it, and 1,000-watt lights, and this and that. And boy, what a mess! We did some research and got 2 sets of ballasts and 2 600 watters and fans and filters, and damn, we're up to $1,500 just to start growing. And then it's a couple $100 a month for electricity to grow indoors. So just growing for the two of us was more expensive than it was to buy weed. But we knew exactly what we were getting. And my brother's OCD, so he doesn't mind spending 6 hours a day on a mother, clones, some in the grow room, and some in the bloom room, some in the drying room. Hi, TX. Good morning. I mean, between us, we could have had 24 plants, and I don't think we ever had more than a mother, 12 clones, 6 in the grow room, and 3 to 4 in the bloom room. So we always had our 2 ounces of weed. Well, you were bouncing around the streams last night, huh, Tex? You must be settled back in after the move. Or are you still in the middle of it? Now, you gotta be careful when you type in small letters. I can see words there that aren't there, and that M word, Tucson, would have got me banned because I would have come in. We're good though. I hear you. I use tubes for cigarettes because I can get a carton for $10. Plus, it gives me something to do every day. When a guy says he's going to get up and that last word can cause some issues in public. Well, I'm glad you guys can laugh. That's pretty much about all I have left to give. That and the calming, relaxing live stream of muted lizard not doing anything. Oh, his eye moved. There's, they even proved it scientifically, medically, however you want to look at it. That it's endorphins, it's more muscles in your face, which keeps you from tightening up. And while we were taught in out door to door sales, if you can get them to laugh, they lean forward and they get off their wallet pocket. That's when you get paid. Kind of a cynical way to look at it, but if you go through every day of your life angry, you go through every day of your life angry. It's your choice. If you choose to make the day be the best it's going to be, and the really funny part of this whole thing is it's only been like a decade and a half that weed's been illegal at all anywhere. And I grew up with my family. No, that's Satan. That's the devil. You smoke pot, you're useless. You're a drug addict. The last few years of my dad's life, he ate infused butter every day. My daughter's smokes every night for the pain from having 3 kids in 5 years. Now it's all okay, but when I first started it was still, you went and got a license so you could smoke pot. That's horrible. It changes quick. Other things changed, but slower. Like when I was out on my own as a young adult, the government told me that the world was going to freeze over. There was global cooling. There's articles all over from the 80s where that's it. We got 12 years. That's it. We're going to freeze over. I get old. Now we're going to melt. I don't. Another thing the government's telling me. Well, I get angry. I can be very violent, but that's a choice. But one of the funny things that I've been, or not funny actually, kind of scary things that I've been reading about is they now can really, they've been trying to map the mind and the brain, and they're finding out that, like, say you drive into a park and there's somebody sitting there, and just in during this first second, before you even have had your brain tell you that you see a person, you've already made up your mind. And from that point over, your mind is going to create a narrative to back up what you decided. You didn't decide, your mind decided, your brain decided. And that's where you get these completely opposite aspects of a situation that just they're both true only if you put the bias in the narrative how you've already reverse engineered the situation. A cop rolls up, you're a criminal, not because there's a crime, and not because he thinks you're a criminal, but his brain already said you're a criminal. It's got this vast amount of information like floating in the sea with all these electrical charges, and it picks bits and pieces as it chooses. It's all been decided before you do it. Well, Tucson, Lori, if they can make a, let's say, 24-year-old Jamaican babe with maybe double D's for me to have something to do with myself, I'm all for transferring out of this beat up old body. But yeah, the time is in the thousands of milliseconds, but the decision is made first. The part of your brain that makes the decision goes bam, and then all the others kick in to make it be the reality. That was our high level medical discussion Sunday morning. Stay tuned next Sunday morning for. I tend to rant on certain subjects, but I'll be bored with it and on to something new. There's only so much new information out there. Oh, I will throw one more humorous one in. When the greenhouse effect CO2 came out as a thing, I mean, this actually was a decade ago when it first came out. I worked in a greenhouse, and their theory is that the heat rotates around and creates more heat. So there's heat which is given off by something as a waste, as a byproduct, is increases upon itself exponentially, which is scientifically impossible. But that wasn't what I did. I closed the greenhouse down at night and I sat there and got high. And I used a bong so I could look at the room and watch the smoke swirl exactly, no, not like they said. So you're looking at the smoke going, but they said it goes like this, but it never goes like this. I mean, I got high every day. I worked 5 days a week, so every night I got high there for like 3 months or 3 weeks when the flowers are in there. So I did the test every day that I worked, obviously, and never once did the smoke go the way they said the heat goes. And smoke follows heat, obviously. So I was like, well, there's another scientific lie. Politics killed science. Right, you create the pathway in your in your brain by repetition. It builds it up stronger. The current's stronger. It's how the brain works. So your training, which in effect is like the influence from your environment plus any mental training you do, is what makes you up you. But like I tried just to point out, is that even though it's you, it's your brain doing it, not your mind. And you're not in charge of your brain. But like I say, you influence it by training it. Well, like I said, their brain is already, everything they see is a criminal. Their brains decided that you're a criminal before they see you with their mind. It takes that long for the information to be viewed, come back, you've already decided, then you see it through the optic nerve of your eye into your brain. It's afterwards. You've already made up your mind before you even see the person because of the way you trained your brain to think criminal. TX, I watched a video last night, 8 cops standing around this one guy. Yeah, well, the issue isn't really the cops, it's the policy they're taught to follow. It's how they're trained. So it's the way their brains already decided when they walked up to the guy convulsing, oh, that's not my job, it's EMS, or I could do something wrong and get sued. Policy says I don't have to do anything. That's where the change has to come before they'll change the way their mind and brain works. And feel free to fact check me on any of that. Obviously, if my blind ass can find it. Yeah, I know if you're talking towards the fact that all the military people are becoming police officers because that's such a high paying job. All right, Tucson. Well, thanks for hanging out with us this long, Lori. Uh, I'm just a little guy here that, well, okay, I'm not a little guy. I gotta quit lying. What a hypocrite. I just reach out to use my voice box every day or every few days, or else I wouldn't use it at all. If you don't use it, you lose it. What am I supposed to do? Talk to Reptar? He agrees with everything I say. That's no fun. I think, Tex, that the similarity is in the ultimate situation where you stop another creature of your own kind from living. You end an existence. I know that, like the first buck I shot was adrenaline filled regret, especially since I ruined most of the meat. That really sucked. I didn't live that down for a long time. But I did, through my little scientific mind, figure a way out how to not ruin any of the meat in the deer when you shoot it by not shooting it. And you'll get this one, Tex, right off the bat. If you run a bullet across the chest, inside the hairline, but outside the skin, right at the point of the throat attaching to the body, the air from the compression around the bullet will travel right through the skin, down the esophagus, and explode the heart and lungs. I have several times I proved that to be true without there being a wound on the deer. When you gut it and you crack that diaphragm open or cut it open, you just pour the heart and lungs out. You don't even reach up and grab it. It's all liquefied. And my dad never even admitted he was impressed by it. But had I not made that first shot where I destroyed 3 shoulders, the back strap, and the tenderloin, I probably would have never tried to figure it out. Would have busted those front shoulders. Did you get all moved in, Tex? Okay. I got kind of confused. I thought you were moving, and you said you hadn't moved yet, or you had things boxed, or. Oh. Everybody's going. I guess we'll call it a day, Reptar. We gone.